Good afternoon. The Committee on Water and Land is into its hearing notice of March 15th. Today's Monday at 1 p.m. in room 229. And just some housekeeping measures. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, this committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, March 17th, in this room and on YouTube. The public notice will be posted on the legislature's website if this hearing is going to be delayed. And for those of you in Zoom land participating, testifier audio is muted and video disabled until shortly before it is your turn to testify. We will be limiting the testifier to 2 minutes. Okay, members, just for your information and for those in Zoom land as well, we have deleted HB 1027 relating to marine life conservation districts from this hearing notice per the request of the agency. And so this measure will be, has been deleted from the agenda. Let's proceed with HB 1022. This is relating to the taking of natural resources. It clarifies that any conservation and resources enforcement officer of the Department of Land and Natural Resources may, in the performance of their official duties, stop and temporarily detain any person whom the officer reasonably believes is or recently has been engaged in hunting or fishing for a natural resource inspection. And it also establishes penalties for refusal to comply with inspection requests. DLNR, Jason, who's going to represent the agency today?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair and committee members. Jason Redula for DLNR. We'll stand on our written testimony in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Okay. Also testifying for Attorney General. Colin Lau, are you there?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'm actually just here standing by for questions at the request of DLNR.
I have a question then.
Oh, good. Senator Agaran.
The testimony on the other side, I was looking at it, that you were working with the department on amendments. Are those amendments reflected in the House Draft 1 or not?
I believe they are reflected in the House Draft.
So you're satisfied that those amendments narrow the authority being granted to just civil administrative matters?
Yes, Senator.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, that's good to know. Any other questions? We do have testifying for Kua'aina Ulu Au'umo, Kevin Chang. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, Chair, they're not present.
Okay, you're testifying in support. Oh, he's not there.
He's not there.
Oh, okay. All right. Members, we do have 8 support and 1 opposition to this measure. Let's continue on unless you have any questions for the agency, for the department. Let's proceed to HB 1028, and this is relating to the Koke'e State Park Advisory Council, and it repeals Section 171-8.5, the HRS establishing the Koke'e State Park Advisory Council. DLNR, Kurt, are you going to testify for the agency? Or Suzanne?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Kurt Cottrell, Administrator, Division of State Parks, and We stand on our testimony in support of this administrative measure. Mahalo.
Okay, let's see, we do have, just the good support from the department. Any changes, or you're pretty much satisfied with the language in this measure?
Yes, we are, Chair. Thanks for asking, but it's good to go.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's proceed, members, to HB 1029, and this is relating to living park planning councils, and it does as well repeals Act 15 of the Hawaii HRS 2009 that authorized the establishment of living park planning councils. Kurt, are you going to take this one as well?
I will, Chair. Thank you. Same as before, we stand on our written testimony in support of this administrative measure.
Okay, I see you guys are working hard with cleaning up a lot of old stuff, and that's good to know that, yeah, get rid of all the things that we really don't need in statutes anymore. Good job on this one as well. Okay, members, any discussion on 1029? Let's proceed then to HB 1031, and this is relating to the Hawaii Historic Places Review Board, and this reduces the number of members on the Hawaii Historic Places Review Board. Mr. Donner, Dr. Donner, are you on this one?
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, I'm Alan Donner. I'm the administrator of the State Historic Preservation Division. On behalf of Chair Case, the department stands on its written testimony and support.
Okay, let's see. You're reducing the board, so I assume, just for our information, how many did you say we have? I think it's noted in the report.
So the review board as established right now has 10 members. Currently, there are 8 members. 2 of them will be term limited, leaving the board as term, at the end of their second.
Okay, you'll stay with 7 then?
Yes.
Okay, how many are, so you have 7 now, any termination or exceeded its service? Do you have new ones coming on board this year?
First of all, to answer your first question, there are 2 vacant positions right now. 2 other positions will come to their end of their second term in a few months, so that will bring the board actual filled positions down to 6. I am not aware that the governor is proposing to send any messages.
How many did you say are expiring this year?
2.
2 in what category?
One is an architect and the other is the Hawaiian cultural specialist.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last one.
There is the specialist in Hawaiian cultural.
I haven't seen, has the governor sent any GMs down for your division? I haven't seen any yet.
I have not seen any either, Chair.
Okay, can you guys follow up then? Because I think you're pretty tight with the different categories, the different disciplines.
Yes, we are in regular communication.
Okay, all right. Any questions, members? Yes. Senator Revere, followed by Senator Favela.
Thank you. Alan, good afternoon. I'm just curious on what's the historical situation of vacancies and how difficult is it to fill these positions? And can you just give us a quick overview of the historically, has it affected quorum? And just give us a rundown of what it's been like and why you need to cut it at this time.
Well, over the last 7 years since I came on, we have had a full 10-member board for about a total of 12 months. We have it's my recollection, it meets quarterly. My recollection is that only twice in the last 7 years have we failed to make quorum. But, for example, if the governor doesn't make appointments this year and, we go forward with 6 members, that means that all 6 members have to be present for there to be a quorum, and it would all, for a motion to carry, it would take a unanimous yes vote.
Do members term out, or can they continue on?
They can serve 2 terms and then they term out.
And these 2 people that we're referencing here, they're termed out, both of them?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Senator Favela.
Okay, I just like to understand, so you guys are wanting to reduce it from 7 to a lower number, or you guys are not in favor of reducing it?
No, we are in favor, we're in favor of the reduction, and the reduction is from 10 to 7.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussions on HB 1031?
We have anyone else testifying, or just is that?
Okay, members, we have 2 in opposition that sent communication.
But it's just written?
Yeah, just written.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's proceed then with HB 1009, and this is relating to certain penalties for violation of subtitle 4 of Title 12 of the HRS, and this amends the additional fines and costs for destroying or harvesting trees or tree products, including COA on state forest reserve lands. It also establishes penalties. Okay, DLNR, Irene, are you going to testify for the agency?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Irene Sprecher, I'm the Forestry Program Manager for the Department of Land and Natural Resources. We're in strong support of this administrative measure, and we feel it will help address some of the outstanding issues we have with managing our forest reserves. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are from the committee. Thank you.
Okay, it seems like you thoroughly went through the bill and the language, so is it to your satisfaction with the bill itself, the language, no changes?
Yes, that's correct, and we've also had it reviewed by the Office of the Attorney General as well.
Oh, great, okay. Members, any questions for HB 1009?
Yeah, I have a question.
Senator Favela.
So, I understand the forestry and whatnot, so is that going to be infringing on anybody's going up there and having, able to go up there for their own cultural practices?
No, it won't be infringing on any traditional or customary uses of the forest reserves. We'll be able to do some additional enforcement for things that might be in violation, like use of certain equipment, ATVs, UTVs, that kind of stuff. It'll just give us some more enforcement abilities, but it won't restrict access.
Thank you.
I think I saw somewhere in the measure that there's a penalty also for, was it a car? Can you kind of explain?
Yeah,
The vehicle?
That's a great question. There's a lot of different things happening within the proposed bill. But by allowing for criminal penalties in the bill, as we're proposing, to increase enforcement ability, at the same time, we also want to make sure that we're not criminalizing minor offenses. So it would be decriminalizing those motor vehicle things like parking and whatnot. So it's just making sure that with adding that, we also are complementing that we're not being overly restrictive or over penalizing, I should say, for those activities.
Okay. Was there another bill that covers this is only penalties for the forest, yeah? This has nothing to do with poaching or anything. Maybe it's another measure.
No, yes, that's correct. It's another measure. There was also another bill, which I don't believe crossed over, but it would have done the same thing for the parking and traffic infractions. It would have decriminalized those.
Right.
For the natural area reserves and wildlife sanctuaries.
Oh, okay.
Those land designations already have criminal penalties, so they were separated out into 2 administrative bills, but that would be the other one that's there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Questions? Anyone has any other questions regarding HB 1009? Let's proceed then with HB 1016, and this is relating to taking of marine life, and that it clarifies that a valid commercial marine vessel license shall satisfy the commercial marine license requirement for all persons taking marine life for commercial purposes aboard a validity licensed vessel. It requires any person who provides fishing charter services to obtain a commercial marine license. Let's see, Brian Nielsen from DLNR, are you on for this one?
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members, Brian Nielsen, Administrator for Division of Aquatic Resources. We stand on our written testimony in support and available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, members' questions. We do have also total 3 persons in support, no opposition for this one. Let's proceed then with HB 1019, House Draft 2, relating to ocean stewardship. And this establishes the Ocean Stewardship Special Fund and Ocean Stewardship User Fund for the collection and use of monies for the conservation, restoration, and enhancement of the state's marine resources. It sunsets the special fund in 5 years, and it delays the collection of the user fee until January 1st, 2024. Brian Nielsen from DLNR.
Aloha, Chair, committee members. We stand on our written testimony in support and do ask the committee to consider our suggested amendments in regard to the sunset date included in the latest draft of this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Chang, are you available for testifying as well?
Hey, Madam Chair, he's not present.
Okay, anyone else? Let's see, we do have continued support on this measure from 4 other areas, including Hawai'i Reef and Ocean Coalition, Nature Conservancy, and testifying for the Ocean Tourism Coalition. Members, any questions with regards to HB 1019? Okay, seeing and hearing none, let's proceed then with HB 1023, and this is relating to a non-resident recreational marine fishing license. Oh, sorry, members, I had a question. Brian, for 1019, you did say you had an amendment. Now, with regards to is your amendment on the special fund that was deleted?
Our amendment was in regard to the sunset date. Operators had asked to delay the effective date for a couple of years, just given the economic crisis we're in, which is totally understandable. But with the 5-year sunset date, we'd just be getting the program up and going in 2 years, and then it would sunset 3 years after that. So we'd just like the committee to reconsider that on this latest draft.
But wasn't there also, aside from the the sunset, is this the measure that also deletes did it delete the special fund but continue the fees? Not this bill.
It might have been that the special fund is sunsetted. I'll have to look at it again to answer that. I know 1027 had that language, but I'm not sure about this one.
Okay, because the special fund says that it shall be repealed and abolished, but you keep the fees, right?
Yeah, I'll have to look back at the bill language for that one, but our ideal would be to keep the special fund and not sunset the special fund, just so we have a place to house those revenues.
Well, I can see that, because if you're repealing the special fund, but you're keeping the user fee. Okay, up for discussion then. Let's proceed then with HB 1023, and this is relating to a non-resident recreational marine fishing license. And this establishes a non-resident recreational marine fishing license requirement and fees to enable the Department of Land and Natural Resources to more effectively manage the fisheries resources of the state. And this also prohibits non-residents, with certain exceptions, from fishing, taking, or catching marine life without a non-resident recreational marine fishing license. Brian, you're on this one as well?
Yes, aloha, Chair. We stand on our written testimony in support. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Any questions? We do have an individual. Clayton Kubo, are you on?
Hey, Madam Chair, he's not on the call.
Okay, he sends communication in support as well, and two other in support, one other in support, and one with comments. Members, any questions on HB 1023? And again, on the agenda, reminder, I did say that we have deleted HB 1027 at the request of the agency. Let's proceed then to SCR 87, and this authorizing the issuance of a term non-exclusive easement covering a portion of state submerged lands at Ku'au, Hamakuapoko, Maui, for the existing seawall and concrete steps, and for use, repair, and maintenance of the existing improvements, construction thereof. Russell, Suji, are you handling this measure?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee for DLNR. We are in support of this admin resolution for the authorization to issue an easement for the seawall and concrete steps. Our research has indicated that this was probably built sometime in 1940s, and only recently we discovered the encroachment, and so we checked with OCCL, and they are okay with us proceeding with an easement, and so we're asking for your concurrence. Thank you.
All right, and I guess, as you say, everything is in order then. Members, any questions on SCR 87? Okay, we have many of those submerged lands on island of Maui. Interesting that we find that most of those that were built like way back in history, and doesn't affect other islands as well. Interesting, yeah? I know, yeah, you're catching it anyway. All right, let's proceed with HB 499. Members, I think there's going to be discussion on 499, so let's put that at the end of the agenda and move on to HB 663, And this is relating to the Game Management Advisory Commission, and this amends the manner of appointment of members by the Game Management Advisory Commission. Let's see, who's going to take care of 663? One second. Okay, David Smith, DLNR.
Aloha, Chair and committee members. This is Jason Oink with the Division of Forestry and Wildlife. I'm sitting in for David Smith, and we support the testimony submitted previously with comments. And thank you.
Okay, any questions? This is the hunting one. Senator Revere, you got questions?
No.
Not on this one? Okay, any questions, members, on 663? Okay, let's proceed then to HB 1280, and this is relating to the Natural Energy Laboratory of Hawaii. Transfers to NELHA, the operational authority over the Makai Research Pier located at the southeast corner of Oahu, and this authorizes the Director of Finance to issue GEO-bonds for NELHA to repair and upgrade the Makai Research Pier. Russ, are you going to handle this one?
For the department, yes, thank you. Russell Fuji from DLNR. We submitted written testimony in support, Chair, and we stand on that. I did, going through our discussion, I did take a look at the statute for 227D, which is the NELHA statute, and so I took a quick look at that, and I don't see anything that limits their jurisdictional authority only to the Kona side.
Oh, okay.
They have broad authority.
Okay.
I believe this would be appropriate.
Okay, members, I had just asked Russell from DLNR to make sure that with the history of NELHA in my district in Kona, just to confirm what the statute says, because at one point in time, it was designated Kailua Kona, and so I'm happy that he was able to do the research and find that it doesn't do that. So, NELHA can continue or will be able to do activities throughout the state. So that's just to confirm. And thanks, Russell, for the follow-up as well. University of Hawaii, Jan Govea, are you going to represent the university?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. Dan Govea on behalf of the University of Hawaii. We stand on our testimony in support.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for her.
Okay, Senator Agaran has a question for you, Jan.
So under the terms of the existing lease, who's responsible for repair and maintenance of the pier?
The university.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Greg Barber, are you there with us today? Aloha.
Yeah, hi, Chair. Aloha, Chair.
How's the weather over there? How's your weather?
Oh, paradise. Come on.
Okay.
Beautiful. So we stand on our testimony, and we have reviewed the details of the expenditure budget, and we think there's additional funds are required for contingency and design fees, and for design of and review of the buildings as well, which it's in pretty bad shape. And we think that we should also look into fortification of the pier to account for sea level rise. I think a public policy, if we're looking at expanding the use for an additional 40 years, we should make sure that It accounts for sea level rise over the next 40 years to make sure it's still usable. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for being with us today. Ann Chong? Aloha.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Ann Chung for Mackay Ocean Engineering. We stand on our testimony in support.
Okay, thank you. Members, any questions? There were for support, no opposition on this measure. Let's go back then to HB 499, and this is relating to lease extensions on public land. And this authorizes the BLNR to extend certain leases of public lands for commercial, industrial, resort, mixed use, or government use upon approval of a proposed development agreement to make substantial improvements to the existing improvements. And members, just to let you know that I think there's a misconception that this has to do anything with TMT, and I guarantee you that this does not apply to TMT. And so for all of you out there, this doesn't apply to the concerns that you all have out there as well. Russell, are you going to be speaking on behalf of the agency on 499?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, committee members and chair. Russell Fuji for DLNR. We stand in general support of this measure. There was an amendment added by the House that we didn't think was necessary, and that we had asked in our testimony that it be deleted, and that's the restriction on assigning the leases that have been extended, prohibiting the assignment of leases to sublets. And we didn't think that was appropriate or needed anyway. But that was our requested change. I just wanted to say that the department actually supports the Senate version, which was the SB 257 SD1 version, not the SD2, which was SD2, which was only limited to a particular parcel. We prefer the more general SD1 version. I'm here to answer any questions on this bill if you have it.
Okay, thank you, Russ. And so his amendment or recommendation, if you're looking, members, on the existing bill before us, HB 499, and his recommendation is on page 5, where it says, and that's E as in Edward, notwithstanding subsection D, no lease shall be assignable to a sublessee. That was added, as he did mention, in the House, and recommendation, if we're going to use this 499, that be deleted, and rightfully so. I agree with him as well. Let's see. We do have Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Sterling, are you there for this measure?
Hi, Madam Chair. He's not present.
Okay. I see Daniel Kea there. Aloha,
Hello,
Daniel.
Chair. Hello, Chair. Hello, Vice Chair, committee members.
How's your weather on the south side of where we are?
I am actually at home today, which is up in Volcano, so I am still overcast, but it hasn't been raining, so that's a good thing.
Okay, all right, proceed. Thanks.
So I represent Brookfield Properties, as well as I am the general manager for Prince Cleo Plaza. We support the bill, and I'll stand on my written testimony and mention that I know on the Senate version there were some amendments. I don't oppose the amendments that were made and would still support the bill either way, but we do strongly support this measure. It's really good for the community as well as the Hilo area, as well as a lot of lease people that are coming up to our end, and for myself, the development for the mall and stuff would bring a much needed income into the area. Thank you, Chair.
Just to confirm, and for my members, Daniel, there's the SD1 on the Senate version and SD2, but your comments are more on the SD2, the last measure that before it crossed over to the House, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I wouldn't oppose those amendments, but I mean, I agree with DLNR. We support the SD1 fully, but I wouldn't be opposed to the SD2 either. Either way, it's good for the mall as well as the area of Hilo, just for the influx of money that I'd be allowed to bring in.
Okay. Thank you. And members, just chime in if you have any questions for our presenters as well. Kalahui, Hawai'i Political Action Committee. I have Hialani Sonora Pale on.
Chair, and mahalo for the opportunity to share some mana'o. We do stand on our testimony, but I do want to point out that nearly 100 testimonies have come in opposition to this measure, and less than 10 in support. And those that are in support are those who will directly benefit financially from this measure. So I wanted to also share that, and I also want to share that the companion bill on the Senate side had nearly 200 testimonies in opposition and only 4 in support. So and also I want to just point out too, I think you're mistaken in terms of people being, people who have testified in opposition being confused about whether or not this is about Mauna Kea. If you read the testimonies, and I will say, there's testimonies in opposition from OHA, Native Hawaiian Legal Corps, Sierra Club, the Democratic Party Hawaiian Caucus, and people like Dr. Melody McKenzie, who wrote the book on Native Hawaiian Rights and Lands. There's nothing about TMT testimonies. So I don't know where you're getting this idea from, but read the substantial testimonies from these organizations and agencies, that there is a real concern about where this is going. Also, I want to support what Dr. Melody McKenzie said, that the pilot project isn't even done yet, and we're moving forward with this measure. So the pilot project that was supposed to prove whether or not this measure could be successful is not even complete. They haven't even completed that. So that's what I wanted to say. Mahalo. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay. Thank you. We have Lani Sinkin.
Hi, Madam Chair, they're not present.
Okay, thank you. Deborah Ward in opposition.
Aloha, Senator Inoue and
Aloha.
Senate member. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're very clear.
Thank you. I am a farmer in Mountain View, Hawaii Island. I'm chair of the Hawaii Island Group of Sierra Club, and I'm district representative of the Public Access, Open Space, and Natural Resources Commission. I'm strongly opposed to House Bill 499. The reason that I'm opposed is that the entire premise of this bill is that lessees should be afforded extended leases over a period of 65 to 100 years. But the value of the land for the beneficiaries may be very different 65 to 100 years from now than it might be today. And the bill may have been intended to support Prince Kuhio Plaza in Hilo, and that is specified in Senate Bill 257 SD2. But this House Bill 499 is not specific, and it's entirely overbroad. 100 years ago, DHHL had not been established. Prince Kuhio was our Hawaii's delegate to the Congress. Queen Liliuokalani had only passed 2 years earlier, and Orville Wright had only flown a 12-second airplane flight. 100 years is a very, very long time to give a lease for something that may be completely not even useful 100 years from now. 85 years ago, we had our first telephone service. There were no flights to the continental US. 65 years ago, the first IBM mainframe built, but there weren't any in Hawaii. The first section of the H-1 was built. 60 years ago, Kaiser leased 6,000 acres from Bishop Estate to build Hawaii. Hawaii Kai. And Ala Moana had not yet opened. 45 years ago, there were 6 telescopes on Mauna Kea, and Mayor Mariyoshi and 6 very broad representatives of the community asked DLNR to cap the number of observatories at 6. We don't know what will transpire in 165, even 45 years ago. We don't even know whether Prince Kohio Plaza will be an entity in 100 years.
Debbie, I have to, your 2 minutes are up, but it's good to see you. Haven't seen you a while. Glad that things are well with you. Thanks for your input as well. Members, there are 80 in opposition and 7 in support. We have any questions at this point? DLNR, I think, is available. Yes, Senator Revere, question 4.
Thank you for DLNR.
DLNR, Russell.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Russell. Just curious, what is the status of the Act 149, and could you clarify, I mean, where are we at in all in that process? What have we learned?
141, I'm assuming you're referring to the one that was passed for the Hawaii district a few years ago.
The one referred to in the OHA testimony in particular, yeah.
Yeah, it's going forward. There's been a few that, a number of applicants that have come in, and a few have been approved, at least, if I recall. One has definitely been approved that has been actually executed, the extension, and they're doing their improvements. A second one is in the works that we're planning to take to the board soon, which is a large.
So the one that was approved, the one that was approved already, what were the terms of that? What did we learn from this process? How many more years? What did they spend? What happened with that?
I don't have I can't recall the exact amount, how much they spent, but it was enough to adequately, I believe they applied for a little, I think it was a little less than 40 years, it was like 30-something years, but it was dependent upon the amount of improvements, and that's for sure. And in that case, that is one that just went smooth. It got a board approval relatively quickly. The appraisal came in, they accepted the rent, and we moved forward on that one. Others need to is still being worked on, but it is about to be presented to the land board, is one for the Hawaii planning mill that we're working on right now. There's a few others in the hopper.
Okay, great. I appreciate that report. Thank you. And so was there any opposition to the one that was approved or the ones that are still pending? And how does the board, or how do you folks in Land Division take that into account?
Yeah, I don't recall any opposition being presented to the land board when we had this meeting, which is agendized and in an open public meeting.
And if there were opposition, how would that be construed? Is it a discretion? It's a discretionary process, right? So you could take in opposition, or are you obligated to move forward?
No, we're not obligated at all. This is all it does is authorize the board to grant such an extension. So definitely at the board meeting, it's open. We agendize our meetings. It's open to the public, and they can oppose it. Just similarly, like other government leases, like the University of Hawaii, the controversial PNP, yeah, same thing. It's all open meetings, and you're free to express your opinion. Otherwise, it'll ultimately be a land board decision.
Is there any reason?
We currently have 7 members, and it requires at least 4 votes to affirm.
If this measure or Senate Bill 257 or these other ones go forward, is there any reason why you should continue to work on the act? And does that moot out the value of this pilot project that we're discussing right now? I mean, because one of the arguments is, well, we should wait and see how this thing has worked out. How would you answer that concern?
I disagree, and the reason is the pilot project was limited in scope and in a very narrow geographic location. For those that are outside of that location, they also have leases that also are reaching their expiration term, that they would like to see extensions, and I think we can go forward on both fronts. If at any time we feel that it's not working or is not really in the best interest of the state, then we can always come back and try to, sunset the bills or something. But I believe it is helping the businesses maintain themselves, especially during these economic times.
And then,
From a landlord side, I'm sorry, Senator, but I'd like to say this, from a landlord side, it is best to have a land occupied and, people there operating a business as compared to fallow and vacant.
Understood.
And all kind of mischief can happen.
no, understood. I guess what I wanted to finish on, thank you, Chair, for allowing me to go on here.
Sure, proceed.
The idea of, well, wouldn't it be more appropriate to open it up, as a new lease at this time, if we're going to crack this open so that you have potential other bidders? And I know that's been difficult to execute in the past, but wouldn't that kind of philosophically be the best way to go forward, is to crack it open and look at the whole lease, since we're blowing beyond what was previously agreed?
I think that theoretically that makes sense. In practice though, like you say, a lot of these leases, even at the 65-year term, if they're not well maintained from early on, you can't just maintain it within the last 5. You got to continuously maintain these properties in order for it to last beyond the 65. I had one in the Hilo area that we ended up taking back because the tenant wasn't interested, but it was only a 65-year lease, and we're having to, in order for our department to we have a goal of using that for a new Hawaii land office, but it's going to cost significant amount of funds to just get it up to the current standards or current habitable base. And so what I'm trying to say is that I think by having this vehicle as a tool for extensions, it allows at least the facility to continue to maintain itself over the years and go beyond that 65-year term, so we don't end up with facilities like really worn out and like Uncle Billy's, for example, where it's just the honest useful life and it costs money to take down. Unfortunately, in that one, because it was an old lease, like a lot of these leases, they didn't spell out the rights of the landlord having placing the burden on the tenant to release. So in that case, we're stuck with the bill on that one. So I think we can move forward with it. And even if you have the small Hilo project going forward, others like this shopping center in Hilo could benefit, and others on Oahu or Maui or Kauai, as well as in the Kona side, could benefit. Right now, the Kona lessees are not able to take advantage of that extension.
And finally, if this becomes common practice where we can extend leases, have we almost made obsolete a new lease? Where when you come towards the end of a term, are we in effect killing the potential in practice, to open it up for all bidders? I mean, if we start doing extensions every time, then aren't we potentially running into the concern that people have expressed? I'm just curious how we're going to kind of hold the line on when we should do a new lease and when we just keep it going.
Right now, we're limited to the 65, and we're asking for this ability to go beyond the 65-year term. I think if it doesn't go beyond that, anything more than that would require just like another bill or something, and it wouldn't be automatic. It wouldn't be even at the discretion of the board. It wouldn't have that authority. Just like right now, it doesn't have that authority.
Well, until it changes. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Russ, I have a question. With the Hilo area that pretty much on this pilot project that started, DHHL within the same vicinity, I would say, like even across the street from state land, and DHHL has has leases on industrial use, and they have occupants. So is that arrangement different? Because it's DHH lands, but it's commercial properties, right? I mean, the activity, industrial. Does this affect them as well? Or they have different rules?
Yeah, my understanding after discussions with DHHL is they don't have any special land management rules, and so they've been following in accordance and following Department of Interior's instructions to follow HRS 171. And so this statute would benefit the DHHL leases as well. It's not, I know a lot of people think 171 is only DLNR, but it's actually any agency that's utilizing public lands that doesn't have any special land management statute on its own, they can follow 171, and they really ought to follow it.
Yeah, but you're talking about the language in 499 or 257 that would help DHL.
Yeah, your question was something else, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, because, and members, what's interesting is, so with regards to the extensions, as an example, HPM sells, I don't know if the word is sell, but they offer the employees to become part of the ownership. So, that's a great idea. And so, having said that, now with this pilot project, not related to where we are talking about our measures, but, having said that with the pilot project, what happens when you have, or even going forward, companies that offer their employees to become part of the company financially, and I think that's a great idea. So if we don't have opportunities for the extensions, then you're going to have ownership applications, I guess, more than one name, right? Like an HPM. But when you have ownership of all the employees, which I hope that throughout the state that businesses would allow their employees to become part, of a company. So Russ?
We actually have one example like that right now. It's not a private company, but it's a co-op, right? The Kauai Island Utility. It's actually the members of the residents of Kauai that actually owns
that's true,
KIUC. And we have dispositions with KIUC. Right? So even though it's under the guise of KIUC, the entity, it's really ownership by the residents of Kauai.
Well, the comments that we're hearing, is either you end the lease and put it up for auction, or do you continue to do, continue and work out a lease arrangement, which first off, it helps the company, it helps the business, but you also have ownership of employees that had put in their lifetime into a business. Thank you. Any more questions? Members?
I have a question.
Yes, Senator Favela.
We can stay on this topic. I just have, when the first original lease happened, what was the years? What was the year of the lease? When it first did, it was a 65-year lease or more?
Yes, so right now, the maximum is 65-year term, yes.
So the intent in the lease and going forward, what was the intent after 65 years that they thought this thing was going?
I think, excuse me, Senator Favela, you're talking about the pilot project that Russell talked about, or current?
The lease that they're talking about now, and the one he said that went very well without any opposition.
Oh, okay. Okay, Russell.
Yeah, so with the bill, it allowed for the authorization for extension. Up until that time, until the legislature decided to authorize the board to extend, it was limited under the original statutory scheme. 171 is limited to a maximum of 65-year term. Yeah, and so let's contemplate that it'll end, and then if anything, you have to, if you want to lease it out after that, then it will be going back and opening it up to others. Let
me. Besides what you're saying right now, if you're listening to what you're saying, and going forward. And this is the reason why I'm trying to say, and I use an example in my community that I understand, because the lease that they take in now, you were saying earlier that you don't want the buildings to be left behind, decrepit, or part of the lease or the renewal of the lease that they gotta update it. So the 65 years that they was there, who was responsible for the upkeep of the property?
The lessee.
Okay, so then, if they don't have the extension of the lease right now, it's in good condition to open it up for other bidders, right?
Not necessarily, and what we, as a that's what I was trying to point out, as a practical matter, there, if when the lease is going to expire, they'll put in the very minimal improvements just to get by, to actually encourage the larger type of investments, and updating that might be required. They often would need term for financing, and they often finance the project. That's why actually in the ones that went through, it was part of a financing package, and then they needed it needed to amortize. So the amount of extension you get is to amortize the amount of improvements you put into the property.
So basically what I'm trying to say is that when these guys took out the 65-year lease, they never ever had an intention of giving back the lease. So it's basically, in the long short of it all, is that it's called a lease, but it's actually ownership, because it was never intent. And this is what I bring up about with a lot of our land that we're leasing out today. Not very carefully that we do it, and that we don't get the right amount of money for the lease, because they never intend, after 65 years of giving up the lease, because that's why we're here today. So if that's the case, and we never ever put it out to bid, or have other entities, or even the Hawaiian community, or the beneficiaries, or whoever benefit off of the land, ever gonna have an opportunity. So another 65 years, another 100 years, keep going by, and then the people that is there, that is making the lease and going forward and making a profit and going forward, does it really benefit the people of Hawaii? Because you think that, well, because of the lease, and
the benefit comes back with
and it doesn't really benefit the community, besides having the store. So how much money, 65 years, did the state make? How much money does the state make in 65 years leasing this?
Senator, we get fair market rent. That's the law.
That's not what I'm asking. How much is 65 years? I don't know, because it's the same thing they say with Mauna Kea. 50 years of Mauna Kea, how much money did we really make? Nothing. Pennies to the dollar. It'd be half the same.
Mauna Kea is a government lease.
No, I'm asking you, but on yours, what was the percentage? What was the exact amount? You say we're making fair market value, back then. But going forward on the new, we're gonna have a new lease.
The leases are not 65 years set fixed rent for 65 years. Generally, almost all the leases require rent reopenings every 10 years.
Right.
Okay, so you revalue at the 10th year.
So if you don't have
How
the
do you
numbers
do that?
out,
That's
if you
based
give me
on.
the numbers later, I'd like to know how much money we made.
Kurt, Senator, can you let Russell explain, because you've asked many
Yeah,
questions,
I asked the
so.
question, but you're not answering the question. I'm
Yeah,
asking
so
you-
let's have him respond. Russell,
I
continue.
don't know how the lease work. I don't know how much money we made.
It depends, if you have a certain particular parcel, then he could give you an outright.
Right now, the one we're talking about right now for the extension, 65 years ago till now, how much money we made off of the property, since he doesn't want to open it up because he's afraid we're not going to get fair market value because it might be decrepit and because the guys at poor management. So how much money did we make on this?
Russell, can you respond? Thank you. Thanks,
Let me try
Kurt.
and explain. The statute that we're asking to be amended would apply across the board to the leases. So it's not one particular lease. It's not Mauna Kea. It's not one lease. And so if you're asking how much rent do we get, by statute, the legislature passed HRS 171. It requires the rent to be determined by appraisal, and it's based on fair market rent. And so you might have land in Hilo is valued a particular rental amount, as compared to Oahu, which is going to be significantly more higher rental value amount. So I cannot give you like, what is one amendment going to give you fair market rent? It's just, the law is fair market rent, whatever it may be in that jurisdiction in that point in time. It is reopened generally once every 10 years, and it's set for that 10-year period. Sometimes we have step-ups, but sometimes it's just flat for the 10-year period. and then I reopen. And so if you're asking how much revenue did DLNR, I don't speak for the entire state of Hawaii. DLNR's inventory on land division, we probably, I think last year we made between about 16 million in rental revenue. Now distinguish government. Government is different. Government dispositions, oftentimes they pay nothing. We don't get anything from the schools. We don't get anything from the UH. We don't get anything from military type operations. Okay, now the question is whether we should get it. That's something maybe the board can consider. But I'm telling you right now, historically, the government is government. I mean, it's giving land to the county for a park. We don't charge them it. I don't know if I answered your question, Senator, but that's.
I think that was good to know as well. And members, we have half an hour to go into discussion on final decision. We have limited time before the deadlines for all our measures. So I think we're at the end of our agenda, and so the chair at this time, Russ, too, because I think all of the bills are related to the agencies. For some of you, will you guys stand by if we need to call you back? The chair will entertain to go into recess now for decision making, since it's at 2 o'clock. Thank you. We're going into recess. Good afternoon. The Committee on Water and Land is going into decision-making on its agenda notice of hearing for Monday, March 15th. We'll proceed with HB 1022, and this is relating to the taking of natural resources. Members, Chair's recommendation is that we pass with an SD1, and this is just to change the date of effective upon approval. There are technical and non-substantive amendments to this measure as well. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Lucia?
Aye.
Senator Revere?
Aye.
Senator Rivera?
No.
Your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you. And members, the following 4 bills, and I'll read it out. All of the recommendations are to pass these measures as is, and I will outline them. HB 1028, and this is relating to Kokea State Park Advisory Council. HB 1029 relating to Living Park Planning Councils, HB 1031 relating to the Hawaii Historic Places Review Board, and HB 1009 House Draft 1 is this to be passed as is. Any discussions? Hearing none for those 4 bills, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations on any of those measures?
1029, reservation, 1031, no, and 1009, reservations.
Okay, anyone else with reservations? Any other oppositions on any of those measures? Okay, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Vice Chair. On HB 1016 relating to taking of marine life, Chair's recommendation on this measure, previously we did hear and passed out SB 255, Senate Draft 2, and that language is very clean, and it also is effective upon approval. Chair's recommendation that we move this measure as an SD1. Any discussions? Hearing none, Vice Chair, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, HB 1019, House Draft 2, this is the ocean stewardship. Chair's recommendation that we pass this with an SD1, and we just have the technicals with regards to this measure. We'd like to change the date to effective upon approval as well, and as recommended by DLNR to extend the sunset date to 2030. Any discussion? Hearing none, Vice Chair, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. HB 1023, House Draft 1, relating to non-resident recreational marine fishing license. Chair's recommendation that we pass this with an SD1. There's technicals and non-substantive amendments to the measure, and we'd like to give DLNR some time to work out this measure. So we'll add effective January 1st, 2022. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair votes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Recommendation is adopted.
Okay. CR 87, this is the submerged lands. Chair recommends that we pass this as is. Any discussion? Hearing none, Vice Chair, Chair votes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Recommendation is adopted.
HB 499, House Draft 2, and this is relating to the lease extension on public lands. Chair's recommendation that we pass this measure with an SD1. They are there technicals with this one? I didn't get any yet. We'll use the language from SB 257, Senate Draft 1, and that seems comfortable with DLNR as well. Any discussion?
But you said you were going to put a bad date on it, though, right?
Yeah, we're going to leave.
Because SD1, I think, had a good date.
Oh, yeah, no, we do want to keep the SD1 with the effective date.
With the
good
effective?
date, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Misalucha?
Aye.
Senator Riviere?
Reservations.
Senator Favela?
No.
Recommendation adopted.
Okay. Thank you. HB 663, House Draft 1, and this is the Game Management Advisory Commission. Chair recommends that we pass this with an amendment just to change it to effective upon approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. HB 1280, House Draft 2, relating to the Natural Energy Lab of Hawaii Authority. Chair recommends that we pass this measure. Staff, did I tell you as is?
Effective upon approval.
Okay. And we have a tech amendments?
No tech amendments.
No
it's
tech.
just effective upon approval.
Okay, so that is an amendment then. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Vice Chair, Chair goes aye.
Okay, with 5 members present, any reservations? Any opposition? Okay, recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you, folks. All right, we made it by 2:30.
Yeah,
We are meeting on Wednesday as well, and Friday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Folks.
Aloha.
Meeting adjourned. Water and Land is signing off. Oh, there it goes.